Politics is a divisive, dirty, and profitable business. For 14 years, 4 prime ministers have promised to repair or replace a hospital which was damaged by fire. They each have awarded contracts worth millions to their hand-picked contractors to repair said hospital, with one even going as far as building a new hospital from scratch. The electorate has recognized the pattern of their deception, and on each election cycle, each of these prime ministers has been fired. Now, it is Philippia's turn to gamble his political future versus providing quality, sustainable healthcare for the people of Beaufort. If he goes back on his word and continues on the brand new hospital, he runs the risk of not completing before the next general election. If he takes that gamble, the people of the South will acquire a brand new facility which could last the next 100 years. But the Prime Minister of St Lucia has opted to play it safe, to refurbish an 80-year-old building to house a hospital, and of course, by direct award to his favored contractor. The advantage is that his short-term goal would be accomplished. The hospital would be moved from a temporary shelter to its original site, and he would not be fired on the basis of non-completion. His political career would be saved, but the next generation of St. Lucians would be stuck with a loan of nearly $500 million to repay and a hospital which would not meet their current or future needs. And this is the curse, albeit the quagmire, of St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes.
Prime Minister Stephen King on Thursday paid tribute to the staff of the St. Jude's Hospital.
And I look forward to the support of all St. Lucians, all our friends near and far.
The Library Credit Union, at a brief presentation, handed over $100,000 to the institution.
It was a tragedy, so it was necessary for us to show collective understanding. But 2 years? Come on.
This year would be the last year that St. Jude would be occupying the stadium.
Well, I am very concerned about what I'm seeing here.
I was waiting to see what has taken 6.5 years. And the tour is ending, and I'm still waiting.
The person who was in charge of the project, Santa King, was on vacation. No one in the office wanted to make any decisions.
The hospital was being built on an as-you-get-funds basis.
The story of the St. Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project is the most egregious abuse of the national purse in the history of St. Lucia. Every political party since September 9th, 2009 has played politics with it, and every politician who has been in power since has their fingerprints on the crime scene that is St. Jude Reconstruction Project. Every prime minister has misled the nation on its cost, scope of works, progress, and completion. And all 4 of these men have assured St. Lucians that this project would be completed under their tenure, and all except one have failed. But to understand how over $440 million could have been spent on a hospital which remains under repair is a sordid tale of skullduggery, greed, myopia, nepotism, and willful dereliction of duty. This is a story which has been told, and it always starts out with an 80-year-old hospital built by the American Corps of Engineers, which was originally supposed to be built in Trinidad, but somehow, due to miscommunication, ended up being constructed in St. Lucia. The hospital was completed in 1944. It was run as a quasi-government establishment up until the fateful night of September 9th, 2009, when a fire which started off in the surgical wing engulfed the building, killing 3 people and leaving the south of the island in medical purgatory. The story goes that then Prime Minister Stephen King decided to rebuild the surgical wing of this facility at an estimated cost of $2 million EC. During this time, a comprehensive review was undertaken, and it was decided that considering the age and condition of the existing St. Jude Hospital, the government of St. Lucia would seek funding for the construction of a completely new building for the St. Jude Hospital on a site near the George Odlum Stadium. Meanwhile, they instituted temporary measures to rehabilitate the damaged hospital and to make it operable. This was as far back as 2010. St. Lucians from home and abroad donated. School children emptied their piggy banks. Embassies empathized, making mammoth financial contributions. St. Lucian associations the world over gave hundreds of thousands in equipment, and friendly governments gave willingly. Work began in early 2010, and then Prime Minister Stephen King assured St. Lucians that the hospital would be reopened in 6 months. The opposition scoffed at the idea, and the St. Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project was used as a political tool during the 2011 political campaign.
The government cannot produce the evidence to show that there is major progress on the St. Jude's Hospital. In addition, the patients, the doctors and the nurses are facing inconveniences at the stadium, coupled with the inconvenience that is being suffered by the sportsmen and sportswomen of this country. Anyone can visit the St. Jude, the burnt St. Jude's Hospital site, and they will realize that the progress which the government promised by December of 2010 has not materialized.
By April 14, 2011, the scope of the project had changed once again, and borrowing in the name of the St. Jude Reconstruction Project had begun, with $23.7 million being loaned from the Republic of China, Taiwan, and a new deadline for completion set at March 2012. On November 11, 2011, the St. Lucia Labour Party convinced the masses that they would be better managers of the economy, and if elected, they would deliver a state-of-the-art hospital to the people of the South. The electorate offered them an 11-6 mandate, and Dr. Kenny Anthony quickly began making drastic changes to the management of the project. He fired the main contractor, Cyril Donnelly, a well-known UWP supporter, and replaced him with Obi Sadu. And so began a trend of switching contractors within each political cycle. This, coupled with an acute case of scope creep, would have a significant impact on the St. Jude Reconstruction Project.
I think we are now approaching the closing stages. I hesitate to say that it'll be all over by November. I will not take that risk because there is still a lot of work to be done.
I've been told that within 3 weeks windows will be installed, and then you can begin the cleaning up process and the laying of the flooring and installing equipment. It looks like a lot more work has to go into it.
I mean, there was talk initially of a hospital being constructed at 30 million. It's now in the vicinity of 47 million. I think by completion it's going to be about 60 million. But you know what? I think it's going to be money well spent.
That date came and went. The borrowed funds had all been spent, and the hospital was nowhere near completion. And so, the cycle of promises of opening dates and occasional motions were moved to facilitate more borrowing in the name of St. Jude.
This year would be the last year that St. Jude would be occupying the stadium.
By the end of the SLP's 5-year term in 2016, the hospital was nowhere near completion, and $118 million had been spent. The UWP went on the offensive and assured St. Lucians that should they be trusted again, a full investigation would be conducted to ascertain whether the refurbishment was in keeping with best practices and to determine exactly what needed to be done to move the St. Jude Hospital from the stadium to its rightful place.
This country is looking for men of principle. This country is looking for men and women of principle. This country is looking for men and women who are committed to the cause of the people.
In 2016, the baton was passed on to the United Workers' Party with Alan Chasney as Prime Minister. His first move was to halt all work at the site and to conduct a comprehensive assessment. FDL Consult, an engineering, architectural and construction management firm, was hired to investigate the St. Jude Reconstruction Project. This audit cost taxpayers over $800,000 and it listed a treasure trove of corrupt and questionable accounting practices and indicated that an additional $100 million would be required to complete the 25 structures at this site, plus additional funds for unforeseen circumstances due to shoddy construction. The report concluded the issues highlighted are significant in nature. However, we do see a great value present in the works completed to date and believe the project is salvageable and could be converted into a facility that can properly serve the needs of St. Lucia. Then Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph held a press conference to bring St. Lucia up to speed with his government's plans to complete certain parts of the St. Jude Hospital to commence the transition from the stadium.
Minister Joseph toured the site last Wednesday, along with staff from his ministry, consultants on the St. Jude audit, and doctors stationed at the hospital. He says upon information provided by the medical staff for a move to the new hospital complex to take place, there must be about 68 beds available to accommodate the current patient population at the George Odlum Stadium. The walkthrough, he notes, reveals that the new hospital would be able to provide that accommodation.
A lot of what was designed as wards can no longer be used as wards because there are columns and pillars right in the middle, and maneuvering would be a challenge. There are a number of areas where we saw that a stretcher or a bed could not go through the corridor into the rooms. We have decided that the basement of the building for the majority part of it cannot be used, but we are going to concentrate on the first floor.
A transition task force was assembled to ensure the building would meet requisite needs.
One of the biggest challenges, Minister Joseph asserts, is in the emergency area. He says the medical staff has informed him that what currently exists at the new facility is far from ideal.
To sum it all up, we are going to move. Hopefully before the end of this month, we should recommence construction activity, and within a very short space of time, we should have these rooms ready.
On October 6, 2017, the nurses, doctors, administration personnel, and members of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association were invited on a tour of the St. Jude facility. It was only then that the magnitude of the shortcuts and shoddy construction were visible, and naturally, they were outraged.
First, I must say that I'm disappointed in what I've seen. By now, I expected that our nurses would be moving into a new structure because we know that the stadium is compromised. But coming in today, there's no ventilation. On top of that, no exit doors, and this hospital is being rebuilt after a fire. And for me now seeing that it's now being rebuilt, and then yet still there are no enough exit doors for our emergency personnel and patients. So that concerns me, because whereby yes, we want a hospital and we want it now because we deserve it, but we need to ensure that it is a hospital that goes by international standards.
It doesn't look good. It is not good. Something has gone horribly wrong here, and we need answers. Someone has to account for that.
Based on this audit report and the assessment of the medical professionals, Alan Chasney and Guy Joseph took the biggest gamble of their political careers. They halted all works on the original site and opted to build a brand new hospital. The rationale was that the old site was originally built in 1944. The building was aged, its structure and configuration did not meet the future expansion ambitions of the south of the island, and the cost of completion was estimated at over $100 million. So, they opted to invest in a 96-bed state-of-the-art facility. The new building was designed by FDL Consult, the same company which was commissioned to conduct the audit. It was modeled after Cayman City Hospital in the Cayman Islands. The St Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project Phase 2 involved three main components. A. Creating a new wing that would house all the functions and services currently found in the East and Surgical wings. B. Retrofitting some existing buildings to integrate them into a fully functioning hospital, equivalent to the services provided by a Level 4 facility. And C. Revising the internal layout of integrated buildings to ensure they are both functionally efficient and compliant with minimum standards. In the Caribbean, the hospital design, construction, and commissioning process are a complex undertaking spanning several years. Initially, the design phase, including feasibility studies and stakeholder consultations, can take between 6 months to 2 years. Construction for medium to large hospitals take 2 to 4 years, influenced by factors like size, climate, logistics, material, and labor. After construction, commissioning involves equipment installation, testing, safety checks, and staff training, typically spanning several months. Overall, the entire process can last between 3 to 7 years, depending on project-specific factors and unforeseen challenges. Building a new hospital, rather than refurbishing one that is 80 years old, offers several advantages that can be pivotal in ensuring the provision of optimal healthcare services. First, older structures, especially those constructed 8 decades ago, may not be compliant with modern building standards, making them susceptible to safety concerns such as seismic vulnerabilities and fire hazards. Second, the spatial design and layout of older facilities might not align with contemporary medical practices. Modern hospitals are designed to enhance patient flow, provide space for advanced medical equipment, and support multidisciplinary care teams. Refurbishing an old structure might not easily accommodate these needs without significant structural alterations. Third, energy efficiency and sustainability are crucial in today's construction paradigm. New hospitals can be designed with cutting-edge sustainability features, reducing operational costs in the long run. While upfront costs for new construction might be higher, the long-term benefits in terms of operational efficiency, safety, adaptability to future needs, and overall patient experience often outweigh the initial financial outlay. On the other hand, refurbishing an 80-year-old hospital as opposed to constructing a new one has distinct advantages, even when finance is not the primary concern. Firstly, preserving the historic and architectural heritage of such structures can be valuable for the community's identity, offering a sense of continuity and connection to the past. These buildings often embody unique architectural details and craftsmanship not found in modern construction. Second, repurposing existing structures reduces the demand for new raw materials, minimizes waste from demolition, and often has a shorter project timeline, thereby lessening construction-related disturbances. Third, an older hospital may already be strategically located within a community, making it accessible for both patients and healthcare workers. In essence, while new constructions bring modernity, refurbishing an old hospital can provide a harmonious blend of tradition, sustainability, and familiarity, fostering an environment where both patients and healthcare providers feel a deep connection to the place. Then, the St Jude Complex Phase 1 is spread out over several acres and comprises 14 buildings joined by long walkways. Consolidating hospital services into a single modern building, as opposed to dispersing them across numerous disconnected buildings, has various advantages. Efficiency and speed of care. When all patients are in one building, there is a significant reduction in the time to move patients from one department to another. This can be especially crucial in emergencies where every minute counts. Improved interdisciplinary collaborations. Centralization can foster better communication and collaboration among medical professionals from different specialities. When doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers are located closer to one another, it's easier to discuss complex cases, share expertise, and ensure cohesive care. Resource and infrastructure optimization. Operating and maintaining multiple buildings can be costly and logistically challenging. Consolidating services under one roof can lead to efficient utility usage, centralized HVAC systems, and decreased maintenance cost. This can result in financial savings, which could be reinvested in patient care or advanced medical technologies. Enhanced patient experience. For patients and their families, navigating a sprawling hospital campus with multiple buildings can be confusing and stressful. Centralizing services can simplify the patient journey, reduce stress associated with locating different departments, and offer a more cohesive patient experience. Integrated technologies infrastructure. Modern hospital buildings are usually designed with the latest technology in mind. This can allow for better IT infrastructure, enabling advanced patient monitoring systems, electronic health record systems, and other technological solutions to operate seamlessly. It's noteworthy, however, that while there are clear advantages to having a modern, centralized hospital, the decision to centralize must be based on careful consideration of specific needs, local circumstances, and financial constraints of central government. Phase 2 of the hospital would accommodate 96 beds. On the ground floor, there would be a space for accident and emergency department, primary healthcare, outpatient and endoscopy departments, as well as the pharmacy. On the opposite side, you would find diagnostic imaging and laboratory services, along with a substantial section dedicated for outpatient support. Moving up to the first floor is maternity, gynecology, and pediatric wings, along with general public and private wards. There will be a specialized area for minor surgeries, the island's largest intensive care unit, and a state-of-the-art operating theater. Additionally, on this floor, there will be the central sterile supply department, surgical ward, and orthopedic ward. The design ensures that all patient services will be consolidated under one roof. There was a planned helipad and elevator to the emergency room. On the outside, fireproof cladding has been installed to keep out heat, thus reducing energy cost. This special material was used to reduce condensation and eliminate the possibility of mold. There is also permanent paint on the cladding, thus eliminating the need for repainting. Specialized windows for hospitals to withstand hurricane-force winds, and Phase 2 has a concrete roof design for maximum protection during hurricanes. Despite all the plans of engineers and politicians, ultimately, this hospital will serve the residents of the South, and so we took to the streets to ask members of the surrounding communities their views on whether they support the construction of a new hospital, or would they rather the original St. Jude.
The old hospital, it better, it have a solid foundation inside the box chasnet put there that making no use for me, because when it raining, if you see how water is flowing inside the box.
I prefer the old one because you can see what the old one have. But the new one usually show it inside. Nothing. And when rain comes in, you see the water running on the new one.
The old one. I would prefer the old one. The reason for that is because the structure is still standing. And for the new one that they started, and our money went all the way to Panama. Why would our money go to Panama and they did not complete it?
Well, the new one, because the old one have been there for ages.
Right now, I could feel that the best place to be is the old hospital. That's my view. But what about the future of my children?
The new one.
Why?
Because it's modern, it's better. It doesn't have all of the problems that the old one have.
I would say new building. New building.
If they are building a new part, I feel that they should continue
with the new part and bringing the hospital back to the new part and make
new building rather than new building.
Why? Well, to me the first one supposed to finish it because it's more, close to finish.
The old one.
And can you tell us why?
Because everybody accustomed to the old St Jude's already.
I prefer the government to finish what has already started, which is the new one. Because the old one, you'll have a lot of state stuff to destroy, and that'll cost money. But when you start something new, you don't have a lot of money. You just want money and you build something, and that's it.
I would rather they complete the new St Jude's for our country.
Those that came in right now should continue the new one because I think it's more modern, it's more appealing.
I think there's a lot of political attachment to the way they do their things, but anybody who has common sense would have known new is better than old.
The initial plan was to build a 96-bed hospital, but the Alan Chasney administration encountered financial issues. They didn't establish a final project cost or secure adequate financing. With designs still in progress and submitted in phases to the Development Control Authority, the project commenced without a clear final cost estimate. Even engineers' estimates based on design consultancy couldn't provide a definitive cost until the contractor submitted price bills of quantities. Furthermore, the absence of DCA-approved drawings made it impossible to determine the final cost of the ongoing construction. To address these challenges, they proposed a finance and construct arrangement with Fresh Start Limited. Under this arrangement, Fresh Start would handle the design, financing, and construction of the remaining Phase 2. The government would then repay Fresh Start over an abbreviated period. While in opposition, Philip Pierre and his team were always opposed to the construction of a new hospital. They branded Fresh Start Limited, an organ of the ruling UWP, and suggested it was owned by the Minister for Economic Development, Guy Joseph. The owners of the company came out publicly to dispel these claims on several occasions. The opposition leader, in an April 26, 2018 press conference, called on the government to not pursue such a plan of action, warning that his party will employ all legal means to stop such reckless action. The action in this case was the construction of a brand new hospital for the people of the South. Again, on September 9, 2019, on the 10th anniversary of the St Jude Hospital fire, Philip Pierre released a press statement urging the UWP administration to abandon the idea of a new hospital in favor of returning to the old site. He stated, "The hospital, which was 6 months away from completion, could have been finished with the loan funds from the $20 million that were made available by the Republic of China, Taiwan." He went on to assure St Lucians that should the SLP return to office, the St Jude Hospital shall be complete as part of its overall efforts to improve the healthcare infrastructure in St Lucia.
I, Philip Joseph Pierre, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to St Lucia. I will uphold and defend the Constitution.
Upon assuming office on July 26, 2021, the Pierre administration set out to make good on their promise. The Prime Minister commissioned a review committee of 6 experts, namely Francis Chitoli, a civil engineer from Vieux-Fort; John Peter, a civil engineer with much experience with the original St Jude site; Cosmos Andrew, a biomedical technologist with experience in hospital maintenance; Moses Medrick, a construction manager from Vieux-Fort; Jeremiah Fulshire, a chartered architect with experience in hospital design; and the leader of the pack was Mark Hennicott, an architect who was the lead professional opponent at the construction of the new St Jude building and a staunch advocate of the St Lucia Labour Party.
But so there's hardly much recovery happening by the turn of the election of 2016 that you can understand why St Jude was not a priority.
The committee was officially commissioned on the 9th of September 2021, the 12th anniversary of the tragic fire at St Jude Hospital. On March 6, 2023, I attended the Prime Minister's pre-cabinet briefing to ask the PM some key questions about the St Jude Reconstruction project, and in particular, the findings of the 6-man team of experts.
What was the purpose of the audit done by your team?
The purpose of it was for the government to have an informed position on whether we could continue with the box or whether we could go back to the original buildings.
But in reality, this was untrue. In the report submitted to the PM on October 28, 2021, it states, according to the Cabinet Conclusion number 6 of 2021, the objective of the committee is to review options for the completion and commissioning of the St Jude Hospital and to advise the Prime Minister and his Cabinet of Ministers on the feasibility and requirements for an immediate move and transfer of operations from the George Odlum Stadium to the original St Jude Hospital site at Auger in the quarter of Vieux-Fort. Nowhere in the report does it reflect that any cost or logistics comparisons had been conducted to determine whether the government should complete the phase 2 of the hospital. Essentially, it was a foregone conclusion that the $118.05 million which was used to construct this building would be discarded without a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis.
Prime Minister, please, I have not...
We could have a separate chat about St Jude's. This is not the place to have your...
Forgive me, Prime Minister. Allow me to ask...
2 more questions. Thanks.
Prime Minister, allow me to ask the questions relating to St Jude's.
But we could have an interview if you would like to have an interview solely on St Jude's. We could do that, and you could set it up with our office.
Is that on the record?
A sit-down interview in St Jude?
Yes.
We've done it so many times. If I don't know this,
Would you like to...
Ask her 2 questions. Let's
I'd like to have more than 2 questions, please.
But
what is the cost of the final cost of moving back into the old building?
No, we haven't got any final costs yet. It's done according to stages. The first stage was the cleaning. Because you must understand that these buildings were allowed literally to rot by the last government. Allowed buildings that were certified by their own audit that could have served the purpose. They allowed them to rot. They allowed rats, bats, rodents, bush. They had to be cleaned.
So you're saying that at this moment there is no final cost for going
what I'm saying to you is that what has happened already is the buildings have been cleaned and they're going to be fenced as we speak.
So the question was, what is the final cost? And
there's no final cost. The cost works. Listen. Don't jump on. There's no final cost. It's in stages. If you listen to me, the first stage is you clean it, and you fence it. That's the first stage. The second stage is the plans for the different sections of the hospital. These plans have to be approved by the DCA. These plans, when they're approved, they're going to be costed and they're going to go in stages also. That's how it is. There's no final cost because the work's been done in stages.
So, give us 3 main reasons for going back into the old building.
I will give you a copy of the report. You can read for yourself.
I've read the report.
Well, you can ask them. You see, I'll tell you something. What you want me to do is to opine on things that I'm not qualified to opine on. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is that my job, I do finance, I want to make sure that there's value for money.
How many beds will this new facility have?
I'm not getting involved in that. What I'm saying to you is that the committee reported, the committee advised that we go back to the old site.
Why was a direct award given? Why was a direct award given for the reconstruction?
Why was a direct award given
for this project?
Why was the direct given for $70 million to be back in 1 year?
So I am the journalist, you're the Prime Minister.
Thank you
Please
very
answer the
much.
question. Why was a direct award given to CIE for the for the reconstruction of this hospital?
It wasn't, a direct was not given to CI for the reconstruction. The direct was given for the cleaning and the fencing.
Who is the contractor who will complete the project, sir?
You will when you get there, we'll find out.
You are the Minister of Finance.
When you get there,
what is the final?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I have one more question.
You can
just
send
one more
me
question,
an
sir.
email and we will set up that interview. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good Monday.
And as suggested, I reached out to the PM's press secretary, who requested all of the questions I planned to ask the Prime Minister to be sent in advance. We complied. However, the PM refused to have a sit-down interview with Untold Stories on the St Jude Reconstruction project, unlike his 3 predecessors. So, we opted to ask the former Prime Minister Stephenson King, who initially spearheaded the construction of St Jude and who is now a member of the party he fought against for 30 years. Mr. King, while serving as Minister of Infrastructure in the Alan Chasney administration, was part of the cabinet who approved the construction of a new hospital. But now serving in a Labour cabinet, he has made an acute about-face.
What do you see are some of the errors that are happening now that have happened throughout the lifespan of the project? That's the question.
I'm not too sure that I'm seeing errors that are happening now. I think what has happened now is that the government has taken a decision to go to the original plan. The original plan of rehabilitating, reconstructing, retrofitting what existed as a hospital.
Did you support your last government?
That's your last one.
No, sir. I asked for 3 questions.
Yeah, but that's 3. That's the 3rd time you're asking a question.
Mr. Isidore, please allow me to ask the gentleman the questions. He just finished answering the first
go
question.
ahead with your 3rd question.
My second question to you, sir, is, did you support your last government with the construction of an entirely new hospital?
Entirely new hospital?
Did you support your last government with the construction of an entirely new hospital?
I did not. To be honest, I never made it public, but I did have my reservations about the method the approach that we're taking. I've always held my position without any wavering. I always felt that we could not have started the development of an institution. We started it, and then to change along the line because we have a different view. I felt differently. Honestly, I felt differently.
Why did you make these trepidations public? Considering you were probably the most experienced, you were former Minister of Health, you started the handling of the project, and you saw the line of failures. Why didn't you make your voice known?
Had I done that, what would you have said? Had I done that, what would you have said?
That you are a patriot, you are standing up for the country.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I could not have made those statements in public. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you.
Interestingly, on September 9th, 2010, Stephenson King was the Prime Minister of St Lucia, and here he was addressing the first memorial of the St Jude fire. He took time to articulate his plans for the hospital.
And for those who are confused, and for those who fail to listen and understand the vision of the government, I wish to say that in the first instance, the surgical building will be reconstructed and the other buildings on this current site will be renovated. Once this is complete, within the next 10 months, then the hospital will relocate from the George Odlum Stadium to this site. However, this is only temporary. The second component of this project, which will be implemented simultaneously, will see the construction of a new 90-bed healthcare facility for St Jude Hospital at a new site. This modern state-of-the-art healthcare facility will be designed and constructed as a tropical, sustainable, multi-purpose hospital. The design is expected to produce an effective and efficient healthcare facility which meets modern-day requirements, but will also reflect the spirit and ethos of St Jude Hospital. The future expansion and redevelopment of St Jude Hospital aligns itself seamlessly with the national vision and the development plans for the south of the island.
the expansion of the Aurora International Airport, and the expansion of tertiary institutions in the south are all on the horizon.
When we return, we make a second attempt to interview the Prime Minister on the St Jude Reconstruction project.
Mr. Elliot is there too.
Mind your business.
Prime Minister Peer has stood in the House with the expected antics of a political showman while pontificating on the St Jude Reconstruction project without his information being tested. He has offered reporters who act as pseudo-press relations representatives like St Lucia interviews on the St Jude Reconstruction project. Yet, Mr. Peer, for months, refused to answer simple, pertinent questions about this project posed by Untold Stories. So, we decided to attend another of his weekly press briefings.
Mr. Peer, I represent the documentary series Untold Stories. On Untold Stories.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, we've written to your office on multiple occasions. We've been trying to get an interview with you, a sit-down, proper interview with you regarding the St Jude Reconstruction project.
You back there again?
Yes, sir.
I thought you were happy that what was happening there.
I would like to ask you some key questions in the interest of St. Lucia.
Let me answer you first.
Mr. Peer, I've not finished the question, Mr. Peer.
Sorry.
The question was, why is it that until now you have not been able to give us some concrete response as to whether you will have an interview with us or not?
Because first of all, it's a matter of time management. And secondly, I must prepare for you. I must prepare for you. I must prepare to answer you. I must prepare. Because you see, I can answer all you want to get. I can answer you now, but you don't want to answer me now.
I would like to ask you some questions. If my colleagues would allow me, I'd like to ask 3 questions.
Yes,
what are the 3 main challenges you see completing this hospital?
Money. That's it. Next question.
The next question is the delay on the project. Can you explain to us the previous contractor? Has he been paid? And does this the work on the new hospital hinge on him being paid for the work that he has done?
No. Next question.
Has he been paid and what is he owed?
The new contractor, call his name.
The old contractor, Fresh Start.
Yeah, Fresh Start, yeah.
Right? Have they been paid for the work that they've done on the box?
Fresh Start the government is indebted to Fresh Start for over $100 million, and he's been paid. He's been paid. We did not do like the former government, that we have to pay a contractor interest because the government refused to pay him because they perceived of his political connections. They refused to pay him, and we now have to pay him nearly $1 million in interest charges because the last government refused to pay him. Right? Fresh Start, for the work that has been certified, the roads let me answer you. The roads that they've been working on, they've been paid. The final on the box, they have sent a direct award, which incidentally, we're the ones, this thing needs proper explanation. They should not have been allowed to work until the direct award was signed. They should not, go slowly, they should not have been allowed to work until the direct award was signed.
Did Reno Kajada start cleaning up the building with a contract?
Which one?
Did Reno Kajada start cleaning the building with a contract?
Yes.
Can you provide that with us, to us? With the date?
Now.
With the date?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Immediately.
Thank you, sir.
The contract was $5,500. Don't try this Reno Kajada thing. I know you're getting there. Don't try that.
Our investigations revealed that the cleanup and preliminary works being done by CIE Limited was undertaken without a contract. As agreed, we wrote to the Prime Minister and his press secretary on multiple occasions requesting the document, and to date, neither have ever responded to our request.
The contract for the reconstruction of the old St. Jude go out to tender, or will it be a direct award?
No, it's going to be a direct award.
Why a
because
direct
the
award?
time span, because the Procurement Act makes provision for emergency works, and we consider the St. Jude work emergency works based on the fact that he just made. People have been for 14 years. I can tell you early, it's going to be a direct award, but it's going to be evaluated by civil servants. That's the answer.
Jason, last question.
Why was that particular contractor chosen?
Why was that particular contractor was chosen? Because of his expertise, because of the fact he just completed a hospital below cost in Dominica. He got the expertise and he's got the institutional knowledge on hospitals.
One of the conditions of this loan agreement was that this project must go through the tender process for selection of a suitable contractor. Therefore, the PM's previous direct award to CIE would be nullified. On September 6, 2023, the PM visited the St. Jude site where work is currently in progress outside the original cleaning and fencing works. Even without formally selecting CIE Limited through the competitive bidding process, the PM had a tour with CIE's representative at the site.
Out of the 200 odd million, how much exactly will be spent on St. Jude?
I have no idea, because we're not doing it by direct award. We're doing it by tendering. So we have to look for the tenders, and we should have them. And out of that, we are also going to put equipment, and also we're going to do the stadium.
So tell us again, what is the tender for?
The tender is for the completion of the original St. Jude building.
So at this time you're saying that you have not appointed a contractor has not been appointed?
To work, a contractor has not been awarded to do, a contract has not been awarded to do the additional works on the St. Jude Hospital as determined by the loan from the Saudis. What's happening at St. Jude now is going to be done from the local funds.
The press was not invited on this tour. As has now become the norm, mainstream media is bypassed as the Office of the Prime Minister's Communication Team interviews Philip Pierre on topics of national importance, focused on his party's agenda. The reports are then disseminated to the press for publishing. However, now that finance is no longer a challenge, I wanted to ask the Prime Minister some key follow-up questions. So, on September 25th, 2023, I once again attended his press briefing.
Prime Minister?
Yes?
You went on a tour with Joshi.
With who?
With Joshi, who is Reynolds' point person on the ground.
Yes.
In that discussion, you asked Joshi about completion of the hospital. Yes? The suggestion was 1 to 18 months from Joshi to you. The dialogue is clear, it's online. Are you telling me that a contract has not been...
I'm glad you said it's from Joshi to me, not me to Joshi.
Are you telling me that a contract has not been awarded?
I'm glad you said it's from Joshi to me and not me to Joshi.
Focus, Prime Minister, focus.
But I'm focused.
Focus? I'm asking the question.
But I've answered you.
Are you telling me that a contract has not been awarded to CIE for completion of the hospital?
I'm telling you, a contract has not been awarded to CIE for completion of the hospital.
Why did you then have that discussion with Joshi about completion
Because
of the hospital?
Joshi was working, come on. Joshi is working as we speak on the hospital. So I have to ask him a question. I'm not the one who said it. He said it. And I have to ask him a question.
Prime Minister,
Yeah, have you ever heard the Prime Minister say hospital will complete in 18 months?
Prime Minister,
Have you ever heard the Prime Minister say
the
that?
question was,
Yes.
has a contract
No.
been awarded to CIE?
No.
I think he's been very clear on that matter already. He's answered you, you're looking for a different response, and he's answered you that there is a tender process for the completion of the hospital. Now, you can move on to your next question, please. You're welcome.
The follow-up questions which his personal attaché skillfully blocked were: if the contract for the repairs to the hospital had not been put out for tender, why is the Prime Minister engaging the contractor as if a direct award had been given? Also, is this the initial step for the corruption of the tender process, since the PM's favoured contractor has already been selected and mobilized?
Thank you. My next question, sir, is Discuss the tender process.
The tender process, there's an agreement. You know, I feel so. I'm surprised that these questions are coming up. There's an agreement, you understand? Philip J. Pierre didn't go to the hospital and stretch his hands out and say it's too large or small. Philip J. Pierre never went to the hospital and said, that's happening, that's happening. Philip J. never said so. Philip J. Pierre never said so. All Philip J. Pierre did, he had experts, the same experts who were in the hospital previously. We never changed anybody, Mr. Elliott. The same experts. The tender process is going to be tender process. You're going to see a tender newspapers. That's what you see, like any other process. That's what you're going to see, like any other process.
Now that you've gotten the funds to complete the hospital, can you tell St. Lucians how many beds this hospital will have?
Mr. Elliott, why are you going through the same thing all the time? You've heard for yourself in the agreement. Now listen to me. I've never proclaimed the hospital expert. I've never proclaimed either engineer. Don't ask me engineering questions. Don't try to think you can tie me up in that. I'm not going to get caught in that. You're not going to get me to answer any questions about hospital business and things. I'm the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. I'm not an expert in hospital construction. Okay? So when you have these technical questions, I'm going to say the people who did it.
Prime Minister,
yes.
You are Minister of Finance, who sought the funding from the authorities.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you had not gotten a costing based on the number of beds, how did you decide on the figure?
Because Mr. Elliott, yes.
If you had not gotten that costing, how did you go about it?
Can you read my mind? Do you ever read my mind?
And secondly, naturally, it is a hospital. It is based on the number of beds. Prime Minister, are you telling me that at this present moment, you as Minister of Finance do not know how many beds?
I never said so. I told you look in the agreement. I said look in the agreement. You'll see what it says. There's an agreement. What's your question?
The question was so clear.
According to the agreement, it's going to be a 100-bed hospital.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
When we return, we calculate the true cost of the rehabilitation of St. Jude Hospital. As at November 2023, this is the new St. Jude Hospital, also known as the Phase 2 or the Box. This is the old St. Jude Hospital. As of November 2023, the following costs have been attached to this project. Construction cost from 2010 to 2016, $118 million. Construction of a new St. Jude building or the Phase 2 from 2019 to 2021, $118.05 million. Cleanup and fencing work of the original St. Jude Hospital Phase 1 site in 2022, $5.5 million. Loan from the Saudi government for the completion of Phase 1, $200 million. The estimated total cost thus far is $441.55 million plus an undisclosed contract sum to CIE Limited. We reached out to the St. Jude Rehabilitation Project Director for the contract sum for works being undertaken by CIE Limited outside the Saudi contract arrangement. He indicated that after 2 years of work being conducted on the site by CIE, the government and the company have not agreed on a cost of the works being undertaken, and therefore he cannot provide us with a contract figure. And that right there was the problem with the St. Jude Reconstruction project from 2009 up until today. No accountability, no approved plans, no final cost. And all four of these men have been guilty of the same atrocities on the national purse. So the questions are: 1. Considering $118.05 million had already been spent on building a new hospital, why didn't the Pierre administration carry out an investigation to determine the cost of completion? 2. Should the $200 million borrowed from the Saudis have been used to complete the new building? In 2019, Philip Pierre suggested that the old St Jude Hospital was 80% complete, requiring 6 months for completion at a cost of 20 million EC dollars. What changes to the scope of works could have warranted the increase from 20 million to $200 million? Was the decision to invest $200 million into an 80-year-old building made to fulfill political promises, or has Philip Pierre made a wise political move by addressing stadium fatigue in the interest of his re-election bid? Will this facility be open before the next elections are held? If the UWP wins the next election, will they revert to the new hospital? No matter what the answers, one thing is for certain. The story of the St Jude Reconstruction project is very far from over.
The fool has never been told. Could go on and on, the fool has never been told. Could go